Hello, welcome. This is your Monday Tarot reading, or whenever you watch this video, it may resonate with you at another time. I am sending you lots of love, lots of peace, wherever you are on Gaia. And you're not alone. This is the Soulmate reading, so it's for a reading about your soulmate, what's going on for them, what's happening, or it could be just a very intense type of connection you've got with somebody in your life. It doesn't even have to be a lover. It's a really beautiful day here. It's very sunny and lovely. It's Easter Sunday as well, or Ostara if you celebrate it in a pagan way. So I'm sending you lots of love and peace, really. Thanks for subscribing and supporting. And I hope you're doing okay. I know it's quite tough in the Matrix. My neighbours last night were actually having a screaming match. Couple, really lovely couple they are. And they were having an argument last night. I could hear them quite late at night. And I really felt a lot of, love for them, because it's really hard, isn't it, relationships? So anyway, let's go into the energy. Let's see what message we get. Okay, right now oh, it's energy clearing. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Because we've also had the full moon. So how have you found the full moon? Release your ex. It says the time has come to clear your energy. And the most important thing to remember that I'm learning is that we're dealing with people in the Matrix. It's all an illusion. And what we're really dealing with is people's ego, and, the ego is very naughty. It's like a child. It's like a very naughty child, an insatiable child. And it's remembering that you're navigating and managing somebody's ego and your own, of course. That's a whole other story. But anyway, let's go into this. So the recent past, this is you, King of Pentacles energy. It's showing success here. It's showing success for you and your soulmate or this person. And basically, you're both going to be successful, right? You've got an intense connection. You're both going to be successful when it comes to work, when it comes to money. And you're also both being very boundaried. So it's quite interesting because you're kind of mirroring each other here in a very sort of solid energy. Oh my God. This is absolutely spot on correct. We've got a queen, got a king and queen of pentacles. So you are mirroring each other. That is confirmation from spirit. There's an intense connection because you're literally going through the same thing in a different kind of way, and your journey is actually very similar. Like, you actually both really value your boundaries, and you're both learning to be extremely true to yourself no matter what. And that's what makes the connection quite intense and tricky, because they're trying to do what's right for them and what's authentic and stay very boundaried, and they won't really mold to what you would like. But then you're doing the same thing as well. Like, their ego wants certain things from you, and you're not prepared to drop your frequency or bend over backwards for them. So you can see you're both kinds of mirroring each other. You're both equally as powerful now, where they might have had the upper hand previously, I feel, and they were being very rock solid in what their boundaries and their beliefs were, and you were probably trying to mould a little bit to that. Now you've awoken and you've realised, oh my God, it's just their ego. Like, why am I doing this? Like, I have to have the honour of my own heart and soul, or my own spirit. And yeah, now you're actually mirroring each other. So it could make for an interesting situation. Obviously we had the full moon last night, and I'm just thinking of like my neighbours arguing, and it's, two strong people coming together, isn't it? And it can create friction at times, or it can just be very intense because you're both trying to be very firm in your ways. So what's going on at the moment is that you may feel a bit kind of stuck. Okay, you may just feel like at the moment you don't really have your own free will, and you're thinking, what on earth am I supposed to do, right? And it's like you're kind of pulling back, and you're like, I need to create space. I need to just like I just can't move forward right now, you know. That's how it feels. Full reversed and the Knight of Wands reversed is like, I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? You know, I'm at a loss of what I'm supposed to do. Now, I think they're quite frustrated at the moment, and I think they feel like they can't take action on things with you or things in their own life, right? So you're both, again, you're both kind of you know, at a stalemate. You're both kind of stopped here. It's like Spirit's got you both on lockdown. Spirit's both got you on hold. I think, you know, one of you's frustrated and the other one is more just like, I just need to create space because I don't actually know what the hell I'm doing with this connection at the moment. Okay, so the person you think about, this person is a rebel, right? This person goes against the grain. They've got the Hierophant card reversed. They are a rebel. They go against the grain. They're not going to, like I said, they're very, you know, they've got this King of Pentacles energy. Now, King of Pentacles is actually very generous, but also very bounded, and they will fight for what they believe in. So they're solid as a rock when it comes to their own life and what they will and won't do. And I think they're being quite rebellious, you know. Also, I don't think they're really listening to the inner call. I think they're kind of shutting down a little bit from Spirit, or there's a message Spirit's trying to bring them, but I feel like they're blocking it out. And I feel like they're just so much wanting, I mean, I think it's really great that your person is like anti-matrix, because they're definitely anti-matrix and they're definitely not a follower. I mean, this person is a born leader, do you know what I mean? Which I love. But, you know, it's like there's an inner call inside them from their spirit and they're ignoring it as well. There is that going on, you know. So let's just find out a bit more about the Hierophant reversed. Yeah, this, you know, your person is very disconnected from themselves at the moment. They've got the Nine of Cups reversed. Nine of Cups is like real good connection to self. They've lost their connection to themselves, and I think they feel, by being very boundaried in themselves, of what they won't do for other people, i.e. you or whatever. I think they think that is connection to self, but it's not really the connection to themselves. It's just actually kind of stubbornness as well. I mean, it is partly they're being connected to themselves because they won't do things to please other people, which is good, because we shouldn't be people pleasers. But at the same time, I think this person's forgotten how to connect with themselves. So what they tend to do is look for external things to make them happy. So it's kind of like interesting. So basically what we've got is you're both mirroring each other. You're both being very strong and boundaried about what you will and won't do, and you're both trying to be very authentic. One of you is more frustrated and fed up with the other one. The other person is just trying to create space because they're just like, I don't know what the hell to do with this connection, and it's just I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to pull back and not communicate because I'm lost with what to do. But the other person is feeling frustrated with it all, and as well is pulling back. Your person, like I said, is rebellious. They are anti-matrix in a sense that they won't just do what other people want them to do. But they are disconnected from themselves. They do still think that they can find happiness and kind of like comforts and pleasures in the outside world. They don't know how to get that from within spirit, within the centre here. So, right, what does this person think about you? Okay, this person, they can't stop thinking about you, right? Whether this is, I mean, this could be a platonic friendship or a family member or a lover, but it's someone that you have an intense connection with, and they can't stop thinking about you. They know that you are part of their life, all right? They basically find themselves pulled back to you time and time again, you know. Somehow it's like, it's strange for this person. I think they feel good when they are around you, but they're a very confident person, so they tend to think that they don't need you, or they tend to think that they are better than you. But actually, when they're with you, they do actually tend to feel a lot better when they're around you. But they kind of want the upper hand, I feel. This person cares about you a lot. They really care about you. They've got the King of Cups. You know, they really care about you. Oh my God. So they really care about you, but I think they're quite wrapped up in their own thing, if you know what I mean, because Queen of Wands is a very aligned, ambitious, confident type of energy. So they feel very good when they're around you. They want to have the upper hand over you a bit because they like to be the leader, but then underneath it, they care about you, and that's the bit that they don't probably show because they just give off this kind of more confident, brash type of energy. But underneath it, they do actually they're quite sensitive about you. They're quite sensitive about you, and they care about you, and they kind of hide that down. So where they try to have this confident image with you and they want to be the one that seems to be in control of like you and them, they actually can be quite sensitive. So if you upset them or do something, they could take it quite rejecting, or they could be quite sensitive about that. Now, how do they feel? I think they feel in resistance. I know this comes up all the time, but I can't help the cards that come through. You know, they've got the Temperance card reversed. Temperance means, you know, letting go of things that we don't need anymore, and maybe making an apology as well. But I don't think, with the Temperance reverse, I don't think they're ready to let you go, but at the same time, they're not ready to make an apology either. So they're quite in resistance, really. And that's why that's coming, interestingly, underneath the Fool, where I said they don't, you know, they're quite frustrated with you. They're quite stuck. They don't really know what to say. They don't really want to let you alone, but then they don't really want to apologise. I think this person, they've got 9 of Pentacles reversed. I think they're quite frustrated, really, at the moment. I think they feel alone. They tend to feel alone quite easily, but then they don't really want to do anything about that because, actually, funnily enough, I didn't even see that, but look, 5 of Pentacles. They just see themselves as an outsider a lot of the time, or they see themselves as a victim being rejected. And yet they don't really want to heal it. They don't really want to do anything about it. So I'd say this person's in quite a bad place with pain at the moment, and they could even have poor health, or poor mental health, and they just feel this full moon could be aggravating them a little bit. You know, they could actually feel a little bit triggered by the full moon today, because we had it yesterday and it was ever so powerful. I don't know if you felt it, because I felt really tired and achy sort of like 12 hours before the full moon hit. or 50, maybe it was a bit more than, it was about 20 hours. No, it was about 12. And anyway, whatever it was, 15 hours, whatever. I felt very, you know, like knocked out by it and achy. And then I've noticed as well, yesterday morning when the full moon was starting to hit, like my lower back was really aching, and it's aching again this morning, which is really unusual for me because I don't really tend to get a lower backache anymore. And you know, maybe it is the full moon bringing things out, you know, to be released, tensions, stuff like that. And I feel this person could be quite triggered by this full moon, you know, because they aren't really allowing themselves to acknowledge some of the deeper feelings within themselves. They're trying to distract themselves with stuff that's going on in the external world. And they're trying not to sort of like be sensitive and apologise, when we all know that this person is actually very sensitive underneath. So, you know, it's a joke, isn't it, really? The persona this person tries to give off, which is obviously the false self, as opposed to what's actually underneath, is two very different things, isn't it? So, how do they want to move forward? King of Wands. Now, how they want to move forward is kind of how they always move forward. They do want to move forward with you. They do want to keep the connection going, but they're going to do it in the way they always do, which is very cheeky. Being dominant. Maybe if this is your soulmate, maybe being quite sexual, but definitely being more, you know, the dominant one. And so it's frustrating, because I think what you're doing is you're realigning the energy, and you're saying, look, no, right? You've always been the dominant one over me. Yeah, you've always been the dominant one over me, but now I'm taking my dominance, and I'm being authentic to my being, you know, because I'm not so much an ego anymore. I'm not going to chase you, or I'm not going to try and please you all the time. I'm not always going to back down all the time. So you're asserting yourself, and that's why you're at this kind of stalemate thing. You're trying to realign the energies, but they're just being really stubborn, and still they'll only show you the confident, brash side of themselves, you know, where underneath we all know that they're in a bit of a bad way, and they're really in a state of lack, and really they know deep down they should just be more sensitive towards you and just apologise. But no, this person still thinks they're going to come across like that. Cheeky, isn't it? It's very cheeky. I think you're being tested by the matrix with this person. I really do, because they're refusing to learn their lessons at the moment. They've got the World card reversed. Now, they're on the verge, if they chose to be, they are on the verge of being able to learn a higher lesson and get in touch with their true spirit within, the heart chakra centre, the self, the consciousness. But I think this person still keeps dropping into their ego, because no offence, but the King of Wands is ego, right? It's a powerhouse, dominant energy, and it's very fiery, and it's unpredictable, but in an exciting way, charismatic, confident, but on a bad day they can be quite selfish, dominant, controlling, overly sexual, you know, kind of using life or people to their advantage, because the King of Wands knows how to work people. Now they're on the verge of a new beginning. They could really transcend that, because there's been certain things that have happened to them where they could actually say, do you know what, actually, like, I need to be more authentic now, because this approach doesn't really work. It keeps leading me up dead ends all the time. It's not really getting me anywhere. But I think this person, unfortunately, is very stubborn still, and they're not really learning the higher lesson. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? It's their ego, you see. This person's got a very powerful ego, and when I say powerful, I just mean their ego's big. And so when someone's got a big ego, it's quite hard to tame it. It's quite hard for them to even recognise they've got an ego. So their ego can be very out of control, and it's blocking them from learning their higher lessons. They can't really see a lot of the time what it is they're doing. They justify their actions and stuff like that. So you're dealing with somebody here with a lot of ego. So you've got to think of it like, I'm not dealing with a person, I'm dealing with an ego here, you know? And do you really want to feed that person's ego? No. And I think that's why you realised you've got to start standing in your own authenticity, because I think you've realised that feeding their ego or trying to stroke their ego or be nice to it doesn't really work. Doesn't matter what you do. This person's ego just is very dominant, and so you can't really work with their ego. Do you see what I'm trying to say? What's hidden that you don't see is that there is going to be some kind of release, because there is fears here, and there is a lot of blocked energy, and it's going to be released. So that's interesting. And we are having this full moon, which is all about releasing energy, isn't it? And the first message was about releasing energy. Can you remember? The time has come to clear your energy. So that's really interesting, isn't it? That's really interesting. Yeah, time to unblock. Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords. It's challenging. It's challenging, but the time is now to unblock, you know, all of this blocked energy. So something's going to happen here where something's going to be unblocked. Energy's going to get released. Wow. The advice from Spirit is the World card. That's amazing. That is totally amazing. To have that card there. The advice from Spirit is you've got to focus on your spiritual path first and foremost. You've got to focus on your spiritual growth and being aligned to that. Don't allow thoughts about this person to keep ruling you or dominating your life, because you're here for a higher purpose. You're here to embody your own growth and, you know, raising your level of consciousness. So that is your ultimate purpose here. Particularly if you watch this channel a lot, because I know it's my purpose. So, you know, relationships are like a distraction, and any type of relationship is just something that the Matrix throws at you to sort of distract you from your ultimate purpose. And the Matrix will throw these relationships at you to see if you'll get distracted into lower energies, if you'll get distracted and pulled away from the self, you know. So you have to be very strong now in yourself and very grounded, like the Queen of Pentacles, and say, no, I'm not going to allow myself to get pulled off into this drama with this person in my head or anything like that. You've got to clear your energy and keep coming back to the self. You're here for your higher spiritual purpose, and you are going to be successful. You are going to be successful. I think the main thing is that we're seeing confirmation in this reading that this person is still in ego. So you can't really work with someone's ego because it's a false self. Yeah? So you can't work with somebody's ego. It's a false entity. It's a false self. All you can do is be the true self in here and find how lovely that is to connect with that energy, because that's what I'm doing. And it's so amazing the more you find it. It's very hard when you've got a lot of pain coming up. If you've got a lot of pain body coming up, it can feel very hard to feel how lovely that energy within yourself is. But the more pain body you clear over time, you know, because it does clear out eventually, you start to feel that connection with the self more and more. And it is actually the most natural place for us to just be in solitude and be with the self, with consciousness, with spirit. And your heart starts to just naturally sing, because it's a beautiful connection. The spirit, the love of spirit is the eternal connection, and it will make your heart sing. You know, it will make your heart sing, and that's the journey you're ultimately on, and you're going to be successful. Now, when you find that in yourself, you don't actually need anybody's approval, and you don't actually need anybody's love, because it's all coming direct from spirit. And that's really where you're headed, okay? This is a very good thing. It's a very good thing. Now, 5 of Wands reversed. It's almost like you're rejecting the drama. You see all the drama, all the competition, the struggle. You're rejecting it, and you're saying, no, I'm not doing it. I'm just being within spirit, within me. And I'm finding out who I am. I'm finding out who spirit is within me. And, you know, you can see it in children, right? Children who are having a happy childhood. Or in moments where they're just on their own and no one's bothering them, you know. And they're like, or even animals, and they're just playing, you know. It's just natural. They're just playing. They're in the moment, in their environment, and they're just playing. And that's their heart just singing, isn't it? Because they're at one. They're at one with their true nature, their true spirit. And they don't know what it is, but it's the life force energy of spirit, of consciousness just flowing through them. And that's what we're getting back to now, because we're not telling ourselves stories of the past. We're allowing the pain body to just dissolve. And it's taken me nearly 3 years to clear out my pain body. You know, just purge after purge after purge. But it does dissolve out, I promise you, because if you're not feeding it with negative stories, and you're not keep telling yourself you're a victim, and you're not keep telling yourself you're stuck in the past anymore, but you just keep all the time just bringing yourself into the present moment, bringing yourself into alignment, remembering you've got the love of spirit in your heart, remembering you've got this soul family on this channel, you know, you've got Gaia, the love of Gaia, you know, and you keep doing that, you keep realigning, then the pain body just clears out, you know, it clears out eventually. And some people, it only takes a few months. It all depends on how much pain body you've got. It took me nearly 3 years. Oh dear, I've still got some left, but not hardly any compared to what I had. And that's when you start to feel your heart chakra open up. You start to feel the love of spirit coming through the centre of your being. You know, there's not so much mind activity. You're more able to connect in the moment. You don't need these attachments with these people to feed you. You know, you don't need to be locked into an ego struggle with somebody. And you start to see their patterns more and more. And you start to realise, oh yeah, I can't work with this person's ego. I can't please them. I can't fix them. I can't make their ego want me or love me in the way I want. Because an ego doesn't know how to love. That's the problem. You know, an ego doesn't know how to love. So your thing is that you're walking away from that power struggle with their ego, and you're actually taking the higher, learning, and you're going to be successful. It's going to be really, really wonderful right around now. Oh my God. The outcome card. Look at that. Connection to self. That is you getting all the love from spirit, from consciousness within you. And you know, Eckhart Tolle says that once you find that, you don't need anybody, because you've got that conscious love of spirit within yourself. You realise you are the self, you are spirit, you are God, you are the I am presence. Once you actually really can feel that, because you've cleared out all this pain body and you're not playing the ego games anymore that you used to play. You've cleared out addictions, because you don't need those. Once you've cleared your pain body, you don't need your addictions. anymore, because you don't need to numb pain anymore if it's not there. You know, you've got this beautiful connection inside yourself, right? That's the journey you're on. That's the awakening back to self. That's the true journey we're all here to do. And this person's a bit behind you on that journey, but I'm not being nasty, because it's just where they're at. But perhaps they haven't had the information that you've had. When they're ready for this part of the journey, when they're truly ready to clear out their ego and clear out their pain body, then they will find this information, because that's how it happens. When they really, really had enough of the ego games, when they've really, really had enough of the false self, when they've really, really had enough of the suffering, the pain body, then something magical will happen in their life, and that's when they find this type of information. And then they're able to make the same journey back to the self. Now, here you are, boom, you know, connection with yourself. And Eckhart Tolle says that once you find that and your heart is singing and you don't need the love of anybody, you know, that's when things get added on to you. And this is the magic that's starting to happen in your life. You're releasing yourself from suffering. Look at that. That is self-created suffering because of the ego and the pain body, the illusions, you know, the illusions of the pain body and the ego, everything in your head, all that horrible energy you was carrying from the past, you know, it could have been from your parents, it could have been from an ex, it could have been from a narcissist, it could have been from an abuser, it could have been from just karmic patterns from past lives. You've been clearing all that out, and this full moon is pivotal. It's a Libra full moon. You know, Libra is harmony, it's peace, it's love, baby. This full moon is just helping pull out more of that energy, all of that old stuff that just had to go, and it's helping you liberate yourself from that suffering you were in, which was actually just an illusion, and it's all dissolving away. And now you're starting to feel that beautiful love. Now, this person's going to feel your energy change and shift. So don't be surprised if you hear from them. Don't be surprised if they contact you. Don't be surprised if you maybe even have a dream about them or something like that. Because your energy's shifting magnificently. So, you know, that could well happen. We'll just pick a couple more cards. Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups reversed. Now, Ace of Cups reversed, you know, that is you just saying, you know, I don't need it. I don't need anyone filling up my cup. I can fill my own cup up. I'm putting the energy, the love back into me. I'm not giving it out to other people. I'm not over giving anymore. That's not me anymore. I don't need to do that for people's approval or because I'm scared I'm going to lose someone. I'm pouring all my love back into myself, you know, back into me. It's going into me. Let's have a look at a fairy energy. And when you look towards the sun, when you look towards self, when you look towards the sun inside, that is beautiful, because that's when everything starts to follow you. Okay, now taking the rose tinted glasses off, where you might have looked through rose tinted glasses when you looked at somebody, now you're realizing what you're looking at. You are looking at somebody's ego, and I'm not condemning them at all, but you can't work. You have to remember that that's what they're struggling with. They're kind of where you used to be, and basically feeding their ego or trying to please their ego is just going to make their ego worse. Sometimes when we're spiritual or we're empathic, we think that if we love someone, we'll be able to help their ego or help. It doesn't work like that, because ego just sees that what you're giving, and it just thinks, oh, that's great, I can use that. You know, you see what I mean? That's why it doesn't work to just giving out unconditional love. It just doesn't really work like that. So basically, you're taking the rose tinted glasses off. You're seeing this person as a beautiful being, a beautiful, beautiful being, right? You know who they really are, but you're also now being able to see the truth that they have this ego, and you can't keep feeding their ego. You have to be quite strict. It's a bit like being a mother. You know, you've got to be like the mother or the father and be like, no, cheeky ego, you're not having what you want like this, because that is naughty. Do you see what I mean? Oh, look. Their message to you: I'm sorry for lying to you. Yeah, they are sorry. Like I said, they're holding back from apologising. They are actually holding back from apologising. They, you know, that's what they're doing. And when they eventually unblock, and that's only going to happen by you being strict with their ego and saying, no, I'm not kind of playing these little games with you. When they eventually, what's going to happen is underneath that, you know, where I said they're being stubborn and they're just seeing themselves as the victim, they're going to unblock, and eventually they're going to show you their true heart, because that's what's underneath. We know this person's got a very sensitive heart chakra underneath, and they will show it to you eventually, but they won't show it to you while you're feeding their ego, being really nice to them, doing what they want, what their ego wants. No, they won't. You're going to have to, I think it's tough love, basically. It's tough love time. Okay? So look, I'm sending you lots of love, lots of peace, wherever you are on Gaia. The most important thing, it's time that you're finding the love within you. You're not going to have to say anything nasty to this person. It's all going to be energetic. Everything's going to be on an energy level. You won't have to do a damn thing. Because the most important thing at the moment is finding the love within yourself, within spirit, okay? And if you need help with that, if you need support, book in for a session with me. We do you a tarot reading. We'll be helping you, guide you back in here, because this person is like a distraction in the matrix, trying to pull you out of the self. Once you find the self, you got the love. That's when things will get added onto you. So look, I'm sending you lots of love, lots of peace wherever you are on Gaia. You're not alone. And happy Easter, Ostara. Peace.